RealTuners Radio.
Do you want to learn how to tune electronic fuel injection live in person with the guys from RealTuners? We have 2-day courses in dyno shops across the country. Register for these at RealTuners.com. Click on RealTuners Live Classes. For more info or to make a reservation, go to RealTuners.com or message us at RealTuners LLC on Facebook. Learn how to tune your own standalone EFI systems like Holley, Fuel Tech, Megasquirt, Fast, and others on the chassis dyno. Includes topics such as traction control, individual cylinder tuning on a budget, safe tuning for maximum power, and power adder tuning. Upcoming classes with available seats are as follows: Detroit, Michigan, EFI Essentials on June 31st and July 1st. Then we'll be at Nano Nitrous in Kansas City on July 21st and 22nd. Stay tuned for more dates as well as dates for our new GM Gen 3 and 4 factory ECU tuning classes. Sign up for updates at RealTuners.com. These classes are designed to help you get your project running successfully in a course taught by people who actually do this stuff for a living. Good evening and welcome to RealTuners Radio episode 51. Tonight's tech discussion will center on first startup of your new EFI engines. Keeping you smart are our hosts, including John Bewley from Little John's Motorsport Solutions, Tom Sewell from Fuel Injector Development, James Short from Shore Tuning, Mark Dahlquist from Throttles Performance, Bill Fowler from Bear Brakes, Scott Evans with Helix Tuning, Cody Bruce and Mo Lonis from Nano Nitrous, Chad Reynolds from Bankshift.com, Jimmy Bowling from Busher Racing, Dan Parker, the movie star, and Rye Klemp from Bull City Speed. My name is Scott Clark, and welcome to RealTuners Radio episode 51. What is going on, everybody? Episode 51. Almost been a year we've been doing this stuff. Outstanding. Oh, wow. Let's see. Interesting evening, interesting day today. Lots of new stuff came up. Lots of new crap to talk about. So, without further ado, let's get started. I've got, let's see. Who do we got on here? I got me. I got Mr. Dominic Simino tonight. Going to talk a little bit about Holley V5. He's one of the like us. He's probably just downloaded it and started playing with it in the last couple hours. Got John Bewley on tonight. Got Scott Evans, another Holley expert, and I got somebody named Tom. I'm not sure. Is that Vigu? I don't know. Tom's joined in. Anyway, we've invited a number of guys to join in tonight, and if you want to jump in on the panel, send me a message on Facebook. I'm trying to watch them as we do this, and we will let you join in and talk about some stuff. Kind of fun to open these things up to the crowd. Let's see what happened this week. Bewley, anything new going on?
Oh, I don't know, man. A few things going on. There's been some stuff we're going to talk about later. We won't get into that right now.
Yep. Waiting on Blake Hughes to join up a little bit after dinner. But
yeah. But we got let's see, I can't think of anything else. We've man, I'm drawing a blank.
Nothing else to talk about.
Nothing exciting in John's world this week. Everything's just been kind of status quo and just moving right along and doing business as usual.
Cool.
I haven't Kevin Hustlebus limited octane hero stickers. No, I haven't got that chance. I haven't got the chance to do that yet. It is on my to-do list. Unfortunately, my to-do list is really, really, really long.
It's backed up.
Yeah.
But John's getting a new office.
Hey, Tom. It is
Tom Vigu. Cool. Because
right.
somebody wanted to talk Valve Train tonight. I'm glad he's here. Good.
Yeah, I'm having to move some stuff around over here in the building. I'm catching some overflow and some castaways over here. So
we're trying really hard to push John out.
Yeah, they want to take my building completely over. They want my half of it too.
How'd we do?
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on it. But that's the only thing I got going on this week. It's nothing new and exciting, at least that I can talk about yet.
For us tuner guys, there was some exciting stuff going on. Holley finally released today the V5 firmware update.
I was afraid it was going to be 2085 till it came out.
Point counterpoint. No, I mean, I salute any firmware updates. I think it's good stuff, man. The guys are obviously working on stuff. Development is good. You know, everybody wants all these features, and you know, some of them we get, some of them we don't. But I think there's some pretty interesting stuff that's in there. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I actually just downloaded it and started poking around. We'll actually be able to pull some screens up here and take a look at it here in a little bit. But let's see. Okay, just a heads up, the weather is looking to be nasty where I'm at coming through Omaha. At least it looked pretty nasty outside. So if everything goes to crap, it's because my power went out. And I had a nice generator set up going, but it's all packed up and ready to go to the LSX versus the World race. Danny Davis's race coming up here in weekend and a half, right? So
no, 2 weeks. We still got 2 weeks.
2 weeks yet? I'm going out there Thursday.
Yeah, 22nd.
Oh, okay, got it.
We'll be taking off from Bardstown on Thursday morning.
Yep,
and getting into Wichita Thursday night, and be setting up first thing Friday morning. I was talking to Danny the other day, and depending upon the weather and stuff, gates are going to open Friday night about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Cool. So I'm going out there Thursday the 21st. I'm actually going to be out there Thursday morning. I told Danny to help him set up a little bit. We got to do some tricks. We're going to try and get the announcers feed into our live webcast. I got to set up a YouTube event. I think we're going to do it mostly Facebook and YouTube. Probably not Mixler since they limit us on time we can broadcast, but Facebook and YouTube, we'll be broadcasting through those. So also going to try and set up some videos so we can get some of the racing. But my first time doing live casting, so it may go completely to crap, but we'll at least have the audio figured out and have good commentary. Logan's got some camera equipment. We're going to be able to do some. We can play back some videos and things like that if we can't get it live. Should be pretty cool either way.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to bring Derek's truck out and participate. And
I participated on that thing last night. We set up his
that's what he said.
Stuff. We set up some special stuff, secret sauce last night. Pretty stoked.
There's going to be some hurt feelings around here shortly with that truck. I have a feeling.
I think that thing's going to move. I know he's working on converter choice and stuff like that now, but
yeah, we got the converter out. Went and got a converter adjustment done. Now that we got some consistent data on multiple weekends, and you know, we've only been short shifting at about 1200 RPM, and you know, we've only had a 3-bar map to work with, and that motor spent most of his life above both of those parameters. So now we've got stuff situated so we can actually turn it to RPM it wants to turn and give it the boost it wants to make. And y'all thought it was quick before. Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit more with it this time.
Good. Now I'm looking forward to it. It already looked like it was doing pretty good before he added his new tricks, so I don't anticipate it to slow down or get any less consistent.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Kevin Schweitzer, yeah, I'm probably gonna go up to prize fight. We'll probably I think Derek's gonna come up and run on Friday night, and we'll look for the awning. I got an awning with LJMS logo and stuff on top of it. If you guys want to look me up at Prize Fight, we'll have the awning up in the pits with Derek, and you guys can hit us up there if you're looking for me.
I'll be setting up camp there, bringing some tables, put the equipment on, and I'll be there with you.
Probably, I think Derek's going to come up and run on Friday night, and we'll have me. I got an awning with LJMS logo and stuff on top of it. If you guys want to look me up at Prize Fight, we'll have the awning up in the pits with Derek, and you guys can hit us up there if you're looking for me.
I'll be setting up camp there, bringing some tables, put the equipment on. How did I screw that up? You guys still with me?
I am, yes. Somebody's dropping out there.
I had some audio looping back there. That was my bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I made it back. I thought it was me looping it back.
Nope, it's me. It was me on my end. I suck at the audio. I made a bunch of changes, and of course, I've screwed that all up.
Drink.
Okay.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Done.
Hey, one of my buddies at work said to try that new clear, hard seltzer stuff for yourself. He said that's pretty good. You might enjoy it.
Might have to try that.
I mean, come on. We're going to take the flavor out of the alcohol too and literally just drink alcoholic soda water?
Yeah, I don't know if I see that.
Man, come on. You got to at least have some flavor in it. I mean,
Get one of those little Mio squeeze things. Put your own flavor in.
Well, hey, that's not a bad idea. I'll give you, that's worth 5 bonus points right there.
Great. Now I only need to get like 75 or 80 more points to catch back up.
There you go.
Huh. So anyway, sorry, I'm still pushing buttons here, getting stuff going. Fixed up right. Sorry about my screwy audio. Got a bunch of people logged in and listening. Man, we should get started. So I invited a bunch of different Holley tuners just to get on tonight, and so far the only one that was able to navigate his way through Ring Central is Mr. Dominic Simino. Welcome aboard, dude. Can you hear us okay?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Nice. Have you played with this new V5 yet at all? Other than, I mean, all I did was download it.
Yeah, to be honest, I just downloaded it probably about half an hour ago, and I've been bouncing around in it. I mean,
Same.
really don't see
I've been
a
looking
lot.
at it all day.
Yeah.
From what they're saying, what they've added is really kind of not a whole lot, honestly.
Well, I'm guessing there's some behind the scene fixes and improvements too. I know that the staged injector stuff I'm kind of stoked about. So it gives you a...
There's a few things that are pretty big changes that probably took a lot of work to do. The staged injector thing probably took a ton of work to do, I'm sure.
I'm guessing. Yeah. So high five to those guys. Ryan Whitty and Ricky Best said that they would get on maybe in the next week and talk to us a little bit about it, but they were not prepared tonight. And you got to understand how I do this thing. I start thinking about what we're going to talk about that night around noon during the day, because I'm hustling right now. It's busy season, like I'm sure it is for all you guys. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Dominic. Yeah, I can pull up the screen here. Hold on a second.
I can tell you the two features that I think are big improvements for most people are the fact that they made it so now you can stack more than 3 things on an input, right? So you got your trans brake, you got your there's like 16 different things that you can use that are the same function from one button, and now you can put 10 of them on one input at once instead of having to use 2 inputs and stack the 2 with splitting a wire to both of them, which is a big deal because that costs people input. So that's an extra input they get back.
Yeah, I see that. So I can stack 10 things. I can have my trans brake. I can have 10 things on that input, right? 10 different software functions tied to that one input.
And the other big thing I see is the fact that now they've added a quote-unquote staging section, which is your trans brake and bump button.
Oh, they did?
So that's huge.
You were pissing and moaning about that like it wasn't going to happen. Where is that at?
Because I didn't know if it was going to happen.
Is that under one of the ICFs? I've got it loaded up here right now.
So it's under the basic IO.
Okay.
And then there's a tab that says staging, right? You click enable. And all you see there is a single pulse or a choice of duty cycle, right? Which is what we all do. And then you go down to your inputs and outputs in the system parameters, and you'll see there's a staging input number 1, which is for your trans brake.
Wait, hold on. I just got caught up with
which
you.
Which is for your bump box.
I just got caught up with you. So I added IO on my screen here.
Oh, yeah.
But this is under basic IO
you
under
don't have
system.
to add any IO. All you got to do is go to the system parameters.
Got it. Okay. And then basic
System
IO.
ICF.
Staging. There it is. Right? Cool. All right.
Yep. In the basic IO section of it, there's staging, right? When you click that, it allows you then to add it allows you to add 2 inputs as well. And if you go down to the inputs and outputs section of the system parameters, you have in the
staging
top box
output,
there, you have staging input number 1, staging input number 2, right? So staging 1 is your trans brake, staging 2 is your bump.
Yeah.
And then down the bottom, the output, you have a staging output, and that's your trans brake output, PWM plus or minus.
Got it.
So most of us already have that wired up in a way with all that gone.
Much simpler way to do it. Devin Vanderhoof has
some way. It's ready to go now.
Didn't Devin Vanderhoof have a pretty good video on this that people were using? Now he needs to redo that because this is much easier to do right here. Now, is there a staging table where I can pick frequency and duty cycle?
So if you go back to that basic IO, that staging section there, the output type,
Yeah.
single pulse or duty cycle. And when you go to duty cycle, then it becomes a duty cycle percentage and a frequency. So guys who are used to that number that already know it, it does it exactly the same.
Got it.
Because
Nice.
nobody was really trying to change that number on the fly as it was going.
Sure.
But everybody just had 15 rows of the same number basically above a certain voltage. Well, now it's no longer looking for a voltage. Now it's just, hey, I got a ground input, I got a hot input, whatever it is coming from the button. Pick it and go. And you can do it either by time or by duty cycle. Me personally, I prefer the time. It's a lot easier to deal with. You're not doing math. The duty cycle is doing time, but if you're doing a constant pulse where you're creeping in instead of hitting the button each time, then you need the duty cycle so that it just constantly goes.
Got it. Sick. All right. Dude, I like that. I didn't know they were putting that in there. A+. That's just much easier to set up.
That's kind of the biggest thing to me because there are a lot of people who that was their biggest complaint. There's no way to do a bump box unless you do all this external crap. Well, here it is. It's
with
built
the
in.
advanced tables. Yeah, gotcha. All right. Wicked. I mean, I'm stoked. I like Holley. I'm
Definitely
a
a
big
big
fan.
plus with being able to stack more than 3 inputs.
Yeah, that's huge,
it's
right?
huge being got to stack things. So like me, I have a timing retard, a launch input, the trans brake input, a rev limiter. I got at least 5 things going on that activate when I hit that button. I've got 2 different advanced tables that do things depending on different situations. So, all that plays off of one button. I was using 2 inputs before, and now I can put it all on one.
I thought I had read somewhere that they said that they were going to add in the pin map that they were going to add the color coding. I see that's not there.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I thought I'd read that on a forum somewhere. Somebody from Holley had commented on it, so that was one of the additions, but I guess that didn't make it in. That would be a big plus. You know what I mean?
I mean, I was happy enough to have the heat map on V4, so I'm not going to complain about nothing.
Yeah.
I like that. Because when you're evaluating cam profiles on the engine dyno, that's like just a picture tells you 1,000 words. Saves you a ton of time. Cool. All right. So then moving on. So there's the new, here, I'll just remove it and we'll re-add it. Remove the traction ICF. So now I'm going to add individual config, do the traction.
Just add the new one. The stuff pops up.
Yep. Default traction. Here we go. And so you can set up, you can use the old TC1, TC2 setup or a profiler with smart drop or active speed management. And cue the Price is Right horn. Wah, wah, wah.
Yep.
It's pay to play.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
I mean, I like what I see. And at least you can cancel
what
out of
I see in
this.
the documentation looks like a plot the dot kind of thing, perfect pass.
Yeah, right here. It's definitely just similar to the grid, except I see you can layer 2 steps of retard.
Multiple things, yeah.
2 stages of retard and then a spark cut after that. I'm not a fan of spark cut, but you can just move that out of the way. It looks like I played with this a little bit, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, so it lets you enable which. Okay, and you can just sit here.
Yeah, and you can
just
pick that by
dots,
crankshaft or by drive shaft. So you don't necessarily have to have a drive shaft speed sensor to use this.
Let me tell you where the crankshaft is
guys
important.
Guys with an HP that don't have all the inputs could potentially still use this without a drive shaft sensor.
Right. If that works on the HP, I don't know. We got to get Ryan and those guys to answer. But I'll tell you one area where I've been using this. I think this is going to help them. And it's not the biggest crowd, but the jet sprint boats that I've been tuning tons of.
Yeah.
Those guys like a perfect pass RPM for launch, right? So it lets them. The problem is you make 13, 14, 1,500 horsepower in this 800-pound boat, a jet boat, and you launch and you can cavitate the impeller. Yeah, on the jet. What I've been doing is using a launch button on these guys and they were using a different system and running this RPM thing just for like 2 seconds just to get them launch out of the hole, and you could really nail the tune and get those things to launch super hard. But anyway, Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like what I'm seeing here, man. This will work. This is for the guys, obviously, that are only allowed single sensors, though. I mean, in my world, you still use front wheel speed and rear wheel speed if it's a
Right.
in a quote unquote event or sanction or no sanction that doesn't care what sensors you have on the car. I'm a dual speed sensor that compares, chassis speed to rear wheel speed, driven wheel speed, but this will work right here. So this basically gives you grid style control without having to mess with a third party box. That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. I see we've got some new guys on here. Dan Joseph, welcome aboard.
They also added a bunch of support for some other sensors. Instead of having to do custom, they added some extra sensor things. So when you pick an input for something and outputs different things, there's other transducers and other pressure temperatures and some race pack shock travel sensors and the 200 Celsius infrared temperature sensor. It looks like the external Holley G meter, not the dash one.
Where are you seeing this at? Where are you seeing this at? Let me pull this up.
So in the help guide. So if you go into the help, you can scroll down to the bottom of the help, and there's a V5 software update overview.
Wait. So like the contents search index, that help?
Yep. Go into contents. Yep.
Okay.
And then just go all the way down. You'll see V2, V3, V4, and V5 software updates.
Got it.
And then you can see the V5 software update overview, which tells you everything that they've actually put into this.
Nice. Thank you, Holley, for the documentation.
Documentation is always good with Holley.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm super happy about that. That's amazing that they keep up on that.
Nicely done. Okay, I see what you're saying here. Good explanation of stuff.
That's one of the biggest things. I think that's Holley's biggest thing is their help section is better than any other.
It's always way, way good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to note that when they say the Holley EFI G meter, they're not talking about the one built into the digital dash. They're talking about their external G meter.
Gotcha. The digital dash, you still can't use the G meter as a
it still doesn't talk
function.
Back and forth with that stuff. Can't send sensors back and forth yet.
Maybe a little slow. Well, I don't know. Some of the CAN G meter stuff isn't that spectacular. It depends on how fast the CAN bus network is, but yeah. All right, cool. I can dig it.
Couple new Ford transmission things.
Cool. Dan's on here. Dan Joseph. I'm just loading the firmware upgrade right now, he says. Don't want to make a bunch of background noise. Just a few. No rush, dude. You can jump in whenever you like.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good. Welcome aboard.
That drive shaft stuff works, from my experience, the best right off the start line where, might be hanging some front tires in the air or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And then transition to the, the actual traction front versus rear, 60, 100 foot out. I don't know what your all's experiences are from that.
No, it's a huge deal here, and I agree. In fact, I was used to the Megasquirt based stuff, which was pretty advanced once the front wheel touched down. And I've also done it with some high sample rate GPS, but we always had to open loop tune just with a timing retard or a timing ramp off the hit, and that's how a lot of X275 guys were doing it too. But this, having the dots for the launch is going to help a ton. And I'm just going to caution people. My experience and engine builders' experiences are don't just bang off a limiter the whole time. Try and do this with timing retard if you can, because it beats the holy crap out of the motor. If you're being super competitive X275 guy or Radial versus the World, fine, you're going to need that. But, it would literally reduce the number of passes you could get out of the typical Radial versus the World Hemi or 41X by, a third. I mean, you'd get a third as many passes out of it as you would without banging it off limiters all the way down the track. So,
right.
And with this dot system and the multiple things, what they do is they give you a timing retard table and a hard limit table as well. So there's you can make it to where in their example in the help files is basically that, hey, I got a hard limit at $8,000 that I don't want to go above, and between it starts dropping one cylinder at a time, 100 RPM at a time, based on their demo and based on their info in this, in their example. So you can basically drop up to 4 cylinders, knocking out power.
Yeah, which is still like that's how the grid's doing it, and I mean
it beats
that's,
up on things a little bit.
Yeah, it beats up on stuff. And I'm a big fan of retard. Get coil packs and yank 30 degrees out of it if you have to before you got to start cutting spark. It's just historically the engines have lasted. I mean, Jay Kaczynski, you know, we would run that thing. It would yank back to 0 degrees of timing to keep that thing hooked up and get no more than 5 or 8 degrees on some passes where we really couldn't guess very good what the surface looked like. And he's had 300 plus data logs of doing stuff like that and never wore the motor out. So, you know.
And it looks like it blends between the two. So whatever you pick as your retard line
it interpolates
versus
between
your
the two, right?
hard cut line, it starts to blend between the two. So you can get a combination of retard and cylinder cut at the same time.
Nice.
Does it have the ability to learn? So like if you're, you know, you have the dots on a perfect pass and let's say for instance, you're on a good pass and it's actually hooked up. Does it, you know, does it have
from what I can tell.
I don't see that it learns. I don't believe that it does. Somebody keep an eye on the Facebook chat because I know Ryan Whitty didn't have time to get on the call tonight, but he said he might get on the Facebook chat. He may have an answer for that. He says, Scott, the time is still active on the DC mode of stage assist. Okay, got it. Oh, cool. He's been sending me some messages here. I just saw this. So yeah, that's everybody's yelling at me for the looping audio. Sorry, we fixed that early on. No, it looks like it's not a learn. And here's a question I have. So in the grid, there's a neat function where you can literally copy a pass, highlight it, copy it, and then drop it in and paste it. Which Jamie Miller showed me that trick. It's kind of an advanced trick, but
there is a way to do this. There's an import log file button, and there's also an import CSV button. So when you have a good pass, maybe mute whoever's making the noise back there.
Sorry.
Whenever you have a good pass, you can import that log file and pull that data in.
You can do that.
I don't know
Ryan,
exactly
would you answer
what
our
it
question
does,
there?
but it says right here you can import the data in from a pass. So
yeah, I mean, so you're saying on Holley we can do that?
Yeah.
So you'd have to have a function to cut and paste that section out of the log.
Well, you can either take it's either built into it because it's literally a button that says import log file in the Holley. So I'm assuming that it automatically chooses the right part
import
of that
the world.
file.
Yep, he says you can do it.
Default,
Ryan's telling me you can do it. All right, kick ass. That is nice. Okay, I like that. Makes it easy. So it's probably
something that's in a different format, and you have a CSV and Excel file with the comma separated values.
Yeah,
you can drop that in.
Got it. I'm gonna say that's as cool as the learning function. Honestly, you still want to do that by hand, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So all right.
Yeah, make a good pass and then copy it in.
Very cool. This is funny when a bunch of people who haven't used it yet are trying to evaluate it. But hey, I figure that's fair. Gotcha. Oh, I see Ryan's on the Mixler chat too. Excellent. Okay, good. Good. That's helpful. We got Holley engineers actually helping us out, not look stupid.
And of course, they added a bunch of like stuff for the data logger to show those values of all the traction control stuff too. So it's not just random numbers there. You actually have a way to look at it in the data log to see all the different things that it's doing. And then the old internal parameters that some people know about, some people don't, where you can see other values that don't really show up. You can get those from the internal parameters section as well. So they added looks like 6 items there.
Gotcha. Ryan says if you have a log file open, it will start at the 0 time to the log for the log and import from there. Sweet. Awesome. So dude, somebody's been doing a lot of work. That's a lot of programming to make that happen. To be able to pull back in from a data log. So, all right, I'm officially impressed. That's badass. Very nice. And what about the fuel injector stuff? Where do you go find? So if I want to set up, I
got you on that. So the fuel injector stuff, what you need to do is in the main system parameters where it says fuel system, injection type, multi-port system type, change it to custom.
Got it.
Right. And then you can change, the injection type, change it to custom.
Done.
When you go to custom, then it gives you the options to do your fuel injector sets.
Oh, I'm not getting a custom.
And you can tell it how many sets there are, 1, 2, or 3. You can still tell them to use the injector end angle tables. You've got configure injector sets that pops up on the right. And when you do that, you got a whole nother tab basically that you go to.
I don't get that.
And you can set each individual set.
Look at the screen here. I'm not getting that. I've got 3 sets enabled. I've got it set to custom. I didn't get a custom button though, like you were saying.
So let me go back. Let's see where this is at. It's where you select TBI, multi-port, or
got it. Fuel injection type custom. Configure injector sets.
Yep.
Bitchin'. Now he said, can I tie a VE table to each one of these? Which is kick ass for the Octane on Demand guys.
Yeah, it's and I'm trying to find that. I can tell you that info too. Where is that?
I gotta go back and turn on 2 sets of injectors here. Hang on. Custom. There we go. Injector sets 2. I get it now. Okay. So this is what's cool about Holley. It's pretty damn simple for somebody who hasn't used it.
Set 1 is a read-only table. Works as follows. 1 injector set will always display 100% due to it being only injector set used.
Got it.
2 injectors will display whatever value totals 100% after taking into account what the user programs for the second injector set. For example, if the user programs that second set of injectors will supply 60% of the fuel, then this table would read 40% for every value.
All right.
So it's giving you it's going to default to a percentage of the whole thing to begin with, and then you can custom push it around. Tell it, I want this injector at this point to supply 80% of the fuel instead of 40%. Right. So if you're if you're a 2-tank setup with 2 different fuels in them, gas for the idle and part throttle, and you want it to transition into methanol, that second set, you can tell it that when you're wide open throttle to be 100% on that second injector set and not even use the gasoline ones.
Got it. Okay. So there's my answer for the Octane on Demand guys that want to run 2 tanks, 2 fuel supplies, 2 sets of injectors, roll into the throttle, transition or control however they like.
At least that's what it looks like from everything I'm reading here.
That was my understanding.
May tell us otherwise, but that's what I'm seeing right now.
Got it. Sweet. I like it. Well, good shit. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff back in the background. What we didn't get,
to go along with the injector set is a big thing.
Or 3 sets, Ryan says we can do it with 3.
Right.
Yeah.
If you do more than 1 set of injectors, if you do more than 8 injectors on a V8, right? You need more, period. The second injector set, the third injector set, obviously we don't have physical injector drivers in our boxes, right? So you have to use the external injector driver box that they make, which is 554142, I believe. And then certain pins become those outputs, right? It's specific to them. So your ECU side, injector set 2, comes out of J2B as a PWM minus on specific pins. B12, B6, B8, B21, B5, B11, B3, B9. You have to use those pins. You can't drop them anywhere. And then injector set 3 comes out of the J2B connector as PWM plus, and it also has a specific set of pins that it uses. So everything comes out of J2B if you need 3 sets.
I guess I don't have that set up here yet. Okay. Nice. No, that's cool. All right. I feel like I could
it's just a PWM output, so when you set up the second one, it's going to go into specific outputs that are there. Those are the ones it's going to use. I don't know what it changes. I haven't looked to see what it changes in the pin map.
It says check the pin map with the 3 sets set up. View injectors. Okay, I see. Well, all right. Driver A set 1, B set 1, C set 1. Okay. There we go. All right. Can dig. All right. Good stuff, man. I feel like I could muddle my way through this with the instructions, and I'm waiting for the first guy to set up some Octane on Demand stuff.
Yeah.
Outputs page.
And you can also pick the driver type, which is super, super useful for guys using like a billet atomizer. And before they had to tell it, hey, use 3 injector sets to get the 8.2 driver. And now you can tell it 1 set and just use the 8.2 driver. So if you set up custom and then you go into that menu, a little ways down, it says driver setup, and you can choose what the peak and hold is, including a custom version if you need to drive it a little harder, a little less. There's I don't know what the real limit is, but 8.75 milliamps is the high number that you can put on the peak. I'm sure the hold is probably, I think it's 375 is what they said in the help file.
They added you to a little chat group on Facebook, Evans. They're happy with your work so far. So now I got Ricky and Ryan, who should just be on the damn chat with us.
It's so much easier to get online, Ricky. You can call in.
I know. They're afraid. They thought we were going to dog. I was, come on, dude. This is a good box, man. I was doing the math. I'm 29 different systems that I support. And
plenty of good stuff.
This is the most popular one quickly. It got there real quick. So, very good. J2B.
Yep. Things it still doesn't do, but there's
it's
things
locked,
it does
but I
awesome.
see that.
You know, there's plenty of things it does incredible.
Yeah. Test modes. Ricky's being a smartass. Yeah, the only thing I'm missing is test modes. Man, I lobbied and lobbied hard for the guys at Fuel Tech to do this.
You just want to turn on an injector or turn on a coil for just to see if it's the right one in the right hole.
Yeah. No, it's nice to test firing order. It's nice to be able to say, hey, spark this coil at 6,000 RPM. When you got a wire that's burned or a coil that's going bad or something, you can crank the RPM and the dwell up, and you'll find it in the pits just by listening to it. It'll sound weird, you know, but...
Even if they just offered it to like dealers or something, you know.
Yeah. No. This is good.
Ricky just said some of the things people are dying for will require a ground up rewrite, and we understand that. We all know that. You know, one of the big things that I understand requires a ground up rewrite that people are asking for is the Lambda table thing. But
I'm going to push back on Lambda.
To tell them just do it in the software side and the GUI. You don't have to make it in the hardware.
Just so like map to PSI, have a display in Lambda.
That's it. Map to PSI. You're already doing it once there.
It sounds easy. I'd have to think about that from the coding perspective, though. There may be some stuff. I mean, what about the guys who are using?
It would be just one of those. Hey, tell us which fuel drop down you're using, and we'll convert to Lambda.
Right? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a coder. I will leave it to those guys, but I mean, I think they'll get there eventually. It's just the stock ECU guys or the snooty crowd. Oh, I need my Lambda for my 300 horse V6 or whatever. I'm fine. I mean, we're bad enough with just drag racers. Most of these guys are on gasoline AFRs.
Yeah, they're either gas AFRs or methanol AFRs.
Yeah. Ricky says, look at it like a huge tree with a massive root system. There is so much shit tied to that root bulb.
Yeah, we know.
Tell he works in marketing. That's a pretty good way of looking at it. But you can make a math channel for Lambda. Look at it in the logs.
Can, but it doesn't do you any good in the software itself when you're looking at if somebody's used to that table.
See, I'm just not a Lambda guy. I just don't care. But that's all right.
And it doesn't help you if you're looking in the little edit box in the left-hand corner in real time. Ricky says, I'm just a sales guy.
We love you, Ricky. Oh, actually, Ricky Ryan came up to me 6 weeks ago at Blytheville and like just bam, laid it all out. And it was funny because I retained about 30% of it. Because I mean, he had been working with it so hard that it was just really cool. But I thought it was really cool because he came over and was like, hey, man, I just want to tell you what's going on with V5. Doug said to stop by. And I've always gotten kick-ass support from those guys, man. Doug Flynn. I mean, that dude has like walked out of church because I called him on a Sunday at like 11 a.m., but it was just kind of funny. On the main fuel table, top left button is the button for the new fuel tables. All right, hold on a second here. Custom injectors. There it is. All right, I can dig this. Set 1, set 2, and set 3. Badass. Okay. If I go to small table, which I can't stand huge table anyway, does it show me the custom injectors in small? And it does. Yay. Oh, man. All right. Drag Week and Octane On Demand guys are going to absolutely love this. This is cool. Right on.
One of the things I noticed, and let me see if I can find it again. In the IO setup section, in the internal sources, some of the drop downs, they added a few things there. I'm trying to find the thing I found that I thought was really awesome. it's in the inputs. Might be.
Wish I knew how to
So
share
in
screen,
the-
Scott. Do you
In
want
the
to
can
try
menu,
a
as
screen share?
we're
Are you
still
looking at
waiting on
this?
some CAN devices,
Yeah.
there's a drop down where before it was just all said future number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. And there's a handful of things that have populated now. There's a VVT module, there's injector driver, there's EGT1, EGT8 that now have names instead of just future number 2. Right? If you look at the CAN channel stuff. Not
Scott,
that
do you
we
want to try
have
and
it
share
yet,
your
but
screen?
That's a cool looking for the future.
Resolution is your friend. No small tables. Shut up, marketing guy. You want small tables. You don't need all the big tables.
That doesn't matter if in the background it's still using a small table.
Yeah. I want to see if we can try and share your screen, Scott, if you want to. Do you want to try?
I can, yeah. Let me
Try it.
let me just
We're gonna
make sure it's all
experiment here.
safe to share here. I gotta make sure I don't have a bunch of other crap going on.
Yeah,
I mean, I
know
don't
what
have
else you got
anything
going
like
on. The North
seedy
Phoenix
going on. I
Ballet.
just got a lot of shit going on that I want to turn off.
Turn off, shut down the back page screen.
Oh yeah,
He does live in
that already got
Vegas.
shut down by the FBI, didn't it?
If you can't
Well,
pick up
you
a
do
girlfriend in
live, you
Vegas,
do live in Vegas. I figure, you might have the list up or something,
Let's see. I guess I could just do the whole desktop, I guess. That's a smart thing, or should
Yeah.
I just share the Holley screen?
try it. Now, how do I?
Hang on, I'm looking to pick a screen here. Let's just share. Yeah, let's share the whole thing in case it's close this.
Give it a whirl. See if it works. I don't know what to do on my end here either. This is pretty funny.
I hit it. I don't know if it's showing or
One
not.
participant can share at a time. I just sent that up. Manage participants. Trying. Hold on. Might be. Actually, it might be out here. No.
So I'm
Evans.
trying right there.
Oh, there we go. Got it. All right, let me bring it over here. Okay, I got to change the screen that's picking it up. Hold on, an OBS Studio. So, watch this.
Yeah, I'm just clearing off some things. So there, they were all pretty good.
Hold on just a second. I will make that happen. Got it. Okay, we are now broadcasting your screen, Mr. Evans.
So in this IO section, you can say, for example, and I just picked a random thing here. You can do the little drop down. You can see there's a CAN selection, right? Which they had in V4, but in V4 it just said future. It didn't say anything. And when you go in to configure it, you still have the same drop-down of CAN devices and things that they're probably planning on that aren't out yet. But over here, it used to just say future 2, future 3, and now there's a few things labeled: VVT module, injector driver, EGT. So we have that looking forward of things that may get added down the road here that it looks like they're already planning on or developing, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. I'm just impressed that the screen share is working. We never tried that. We tried that live. Look at that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this file too, so I don't want to confuse people.
I don't know if it's working right or not. What I'm seeing on the Facebook live screen is not what I'm seeing on the.
It's a little ways behind.
Yeah, you got like
Is
30
it a
seconds of
little
delay.
behind?
It's coming. It's on there now. I've got it on my live Facebook screen. So we're like 15, 20 seconds.
It's messing with me because it's in our software, it's got it up and it won't let me minimize it. And then I see it on Facebook and it's not matching it. So I'm just just ignore me.
VVT module and injector driver are already out. We knew about that. I knew about the VVT module. Ricky's arguing that it actually uses 31 by 31 in the background and 16 by 16 is doing the interpolation.
I wasn't saying that Holley doesn't do that. They're just other ECUs that that show a big table but only use a small one in the back.
Right. Nice. It's kind of cool, man. So far, I don't see anything that scares me off. Good shit. Anything else you want to cover before we move on?
It said so in the help file. Some of the cool things. So this is a big thing to me right here. That line: added tracing bubble to all tables, PWM, advanced, ICF, etc.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Is it
That's
on
a
the
huge
graph?
deal
Is there a
because
tracing
it didn't
bubble?
always have tracing bubbles in every table.
Wait, is the tracing bubble on the 3D fuel graph? If it is, I'm going to kiss Ryan Woody on the face when I see him. Ryan, answer that question. Hang on.
Yeah, it'll take him a minute.
3D. No, I'm asking him now. Oh, it is. Oh, cool.
Injector set modification. Yep.
It is. Okay, so you can
There we
now
go.
see the trace bubble on the 3D graph while you're editing. Okay,
Oh,
huge win.
I might be able to do that right now. Let's see if I can data log. Open a data log. Let's go up and find something. I think I gotta. Let's just go to.
So Scott's testing it out right now.
right here. I gotta hide this window. It's in my way. There we go. Data log. Activate overlay. Go to, let's say, a fuel map and go to a fuel graph. That's a 3D graph. Do I have to? Yes, look at that.
Sweet. Oh my gosh.
Following it around.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier.
Oh man, that is awesome. That finally we got that. Congratulations, you caught up with the Mega Squirt, guys. I'm just teasing. I'm gonna make everybody mad. No. I gotta have that. I love having the tracer for the 3D map because I just want to edit there real time. You know, when you're tuning idle or driving around and doing your VE surface, that is super
I messed
handy.
everything up on my
Nice.
screens.
Nicely done.
I have to redo all those.
Good job, dudes. So when he talked to me in Blytheville 6 weeks ago, that wasn't in yet. And he's like, I'm going to have to think about asking the guys for that. Oh, man. That's so cool. Look at that. All right.
So I probably can hit play. Let me see. Can I hit? no,
Holly
this
for the
is-
huge win here. I know people are
Yeah,
like,
that's
why
a
is he
big
so
deal.
excited about that? Dude, that's a big deal. You got to understand. Hey, dude, we just figured out how to do webinars for a lower cost. I didn't know the screen share worked so good on this.
Oh yeah.
This
screen
fall when we
share
start doing
works
webinars
awesome
again,
on
this will be
Ring
good.
Central.
Nicely done. Okay. Oh man. So now with this, I have a class this weekend at Blake Hughes' shop, 417 Motorsports on Saturday and Sunday, and it's full. But definitely going to install V5 now on the cars just to be able to have this. So and he also says there's a hotkey that'll take the cursor right to the point where the trace is, so you can just hit the hotkey and start editing right there.
That's kind of nice.
You shitty fuel table are you using there, Scott? Just kidding.
It came off of somebody else's car.
Yeah, somebody else's car,
Just
not mine.
something I did. It was a data log at the track.
Cool. All right.
It was in the process of building the top side, and we had to throw some fuel at it after that. It was just a pass that I had.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
We got 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. I already have the dash software switched and everything, just waiting on the ECU to update.
You're doing the update right now?
Yep, I had to switch to my phone so it didn't interrupt my...
Oh, God, I was going to say you could
I
share
wonder
your
if I
screen if
have
you wanted to.
any- I wonder if I have any outputs that I used for something here. I'm kind of curious as to where this where used function will get used at. Is it just telling me where it's in use? Yeah, that's all it's doing. So if you have something and you want to know what things you're using with it, in the output section there, where used. So that's kind of cool.
Very cool. Huh. Yeah, now I'm thinking about we're going to try this at the class this weekend. I've seen enough. I like it. Guessing it's pretty stable. I know they've been testing it for a long time.
You know, something that I wish they would have added as well is a speedo that's separate from the trans section. Because a lot of people use a drive shaft sensor, and the only way to get a speedo output is to add the trans ICF and then use this speedometer output enable
to drive the output, to drive a speedometer.
to drive the pulses to a regular pulse width speedo. You know, your speedo, and it's an analog speedo. It's not a digital dash for guys who still have that stuff or who like that stuff.
Yeah.
Me, I prefer the analog tack and the analog speedo. They're things that I need to see all the time. They're things that I need to know driving down the road. The sun comes in the window at just the wrong angle. You get a weird reflection. You might not be able to see the screen quite right. You're a guy with weird eyesight and you need the big analog needles to show you where something is.
Yeah. This is interesting. So far, so good. I don't think anybody out there having problems hearing us or dropping audio or video or anything like that. Give us some feedback. I'm curious if it's
gauge panel still looks the same. Supposedly added stuff. So here's all your extra stuff they added. You can see there all the extra injector driver numbers in the setup. The fuel table percentages. Staging inputs and outputs. They added some nitrous stuff too, they said. Add individual nitrous. Do this. I don't know what they added. Dry fuel ramp. I think that was what they said.
Yeah, that's new. Dry fuel ramp, that's new. It wasn't there before.
nice.
Somewhere in here was all that. Here we go. There we go. Only update to the nitrous ICF is the addition of the dry fuel ramp to each stage.
Dan Parker's feedback. You can't see the screen, dudes.
Bastard.
Oh, I love him. Damn it. I owe him a link to my webinars. I haven't forgotten you, brother. Is there an internal accelerometer and does it work now? I couldn't get it to work on a buddy's car. No, you got to use an external accelerometer. Yeah. Listen, look at all the guys on chat giving you guys a high five here, Holley dudes. You shouldn't have been shy. You should have joined in the chat. We'll get them on next week if they can. But I threw it at the last minute with like 20 minutes heads up and they couldn't really make it. But this is good, man. You guys have done a kick-ass job. Pretty much my favorite box. Or the most popular. Like I said, I've been experimenting with some more complicated systems out there. And as if you've done these things 5 or 7 or 10 years, some of the more complicated ones present more of a challenge. I don't know that they're always just seldom things that are absolute necessities. Holley still is the win as far as complexity. It offers features for ease of use, but like I was telling Scott, we were playing with the new M-Tron stuff and it was pretty impressive.
It's the notch up for sure. It's there's a lot more to it, but there's a lot more complexity
complicated to learn,
a
man.
lot of people will not understand.
No, you don't just sit down and start working with it like you do with the Holley, and it's way harder to teach. But yeah, lovely.
There's a lot of depth. It's hard to teach somebody about a 6D table.
Right. Oh, these guys are hilarious. Giving Parker a hard time. He's blind.
I'm stopping the share. Unless you want me to keep it up.
Nope, go ahead. You can stop on the share. Just see what's in the background of mine there. Okay, so, alrighty then. Let me change the feedback to some normal stuff. Here we can look at the weather radar and see what it's going to do here at the house when it's going to start getting nasty.
I could share the screen of what I do at home to get my mic sound.
You got clothes on?
Not a picture of me. I'll show you. I'll just share it real quick. You can see it again.
No, one of these days, most of these guys aren't audio nerds, but man, you got to check out what Scott does for a living. I'll just say that he's busy prepping the PA system for the, the Smashing Pumpkins upcoming tour.
We got the Smashing Pumpkins tour. We're doing all the audio for, so I've got all their console stuff and board stuff set up. And
here's all of his effects that he's running. PA. Are you running, is that Waves? It is.
This is all Waves plugins, yeah. So I go through just an audio channel to get a little bit of EQ on the mic first.
Yeah.
And then I go through a little comp and gate, just kind of overall generic.
Yep. Gate
and the
compression.
Gate is real soft, right? Yep. It's not hard. It's just enough to take down some of the noise when I'm not talking.
You got 30 seconds because we're going to just start losing people.
And I got a multi-band to clamp even more.
Yep.
little bit of EQ to filter out some rumble, the overall limiter. So when I talk, it keeps it consistent. Yep. All this. And then a meter I can look at.
Complicated shit. If you go to your Britney Spears concert or your Florida Georgia Line concert, just kidding. Most of our listeners aren't going to either of those. No,
Sorry,
I just
fell
tell you,
asleep
it's
there
guys
for a
like
second.
Evans that make that shit sound right. Britney Spears doesn't put on a good show. It's the hundreds of engineers behind the scenes that make it work.
It's all the other people.
Yeah. So very cool. All right, man. We should get on to talking about, since we got, looks like we've got an hour halfway through the night. So we should talk about first startups. That's what we told these guys we promised we would talk about. So you got a couple hundred listeners live right now. We probably should entertain them with that tech discussion. Now, Scott, did you help me do the first start webinar? I don't remember. You helped me with the Holley stuff. No, I don't think. I think I did that one on Megasquirt. But no, very cool. So yeah. Anyway, well, thanks a lot for the going over the Holley stuff. That really helped, man. You have obviously read the manual. This is why I like Evans, because he is hardcore understanding the documentation on these different things. But good. So for those of you guys got questions on the Mixler chat, on the Facebook chat. Are you guys watching Facebook, Scott? I am not getting the.
I was not, because I was sharing my screen.
Yeah. So.
But I can go back over and look.
Right. Nick Deal, is Holley trying to catch up with MS3? Got to be honest with you, dude. There's some stuff that Holley smashes the MS3 guys on too. So you should take a look at these. Look at both of them for sure. MS3 is neat, but it's been like a science fair project for me. Sometimes it's just way harder to get set up and going. But as far as simplicity and bang for the buck, really hard to beat Holley. Really hard to beat Holley for the functionality as well. So let's talk about first starts. And if you guys got questions, we're going to kind of change gears here. I'm days away, Tim Gate Pro. I'm days away from my first startup with Holley. Well, if it's focused on Holley, you can talk about starting with one of their base calibrations, right? I have a webinar. Here's my chance to pitch my stuff. If you go to RealTuners.com, shop now, you can actually purchase webinars that are online. It's a 2 to 3 hour. Just sit back with some popcorn and listen and watch, and we go through setting up for the first startup. And I do this in my tuning classes too, which, by the way, open seats in Detroit in the end of June. Go to RealTuners.com, and also in Kansas City in July at Nano Nitrous. The Kansas City one, well, the Detroit class is at JP DeLisi's shop, so we may actually tweak and tune on Black Jesus or one of his other cool projects he's got there. That's some pretty fast stuff. And then at Mo Lonis' shop, Jeff Stacy, VP of sales at Aeromotive, is going to join us, like in person, and give a presentation on fuel systems.
That'd be good.
That's going to be super kick-ass. See, if you listen to our podcast episodes, go find the one that Jeff Stacy was on maybe 4 or 5 months ago, back in the wintertime. It was awesome. Very, very detailed explanations. But anyway, if you're into that stuff, come to some of those classes. They got seats open.
I think the first thing we should mention is the whole synchronizing everything as part of your startup, because it's not just put in the software and turn the key and go.
Oh yeah. And I'm kind of loose on the format tonight, but I typically tell people start bringing things up one thing at a time. Like even if it's a plug and play harness, plug in the power and the grounds first, switch to ignition, make sure you can connect and load your firmware maybe without hooking anything else up, and then start adding sensors one at a time. Because if you plug 40 things in at once and one of them shorted out or weird and the computer won't boot up, then you got issues,
And yes, the sensor can keep it from completely working.
Sure. A busted 5-volt sensor or pressure transducer is one of the biggest ones. When they blow out, the Holley will protect itself by not running the processor, which is on that same circuit, running off that same 5-volt power. So worth looking at, dude. But I always tell people to start off slow. And then, I like to do things like, don't try to put fuel and spark in the engine yet. Just crank the starter over and make sure you're getting RPM. One of the biggest things I run into on LS engines is guys with the cam sensor on the front of the motor that bought an extension harness. The two outer pins. Yeah, the two outer pins always need flipped on the harness. And so your cam won't work. The cam signal won't sync.
If you don't use the extension harness and you just cut wires and extend them, then it doesn't need to be flipped.
Right,
So
right.
that's something
Well,
for people to know.
I just say that's usually the issue if you can't get sync. If that thing you're cranking and you're not getting RPM sync, you should be able to spin the starter over without putting spark and fuel in the motor. Take the plugs out so it spins over fast and easy. It's not wearing nothing out. Spin the starter over and you should be able to get steady RPM. You know, you should get 90 to 150 RPM.
I also like to just do the crank sensor only. I like to put it in custom mode so I can just look at the crank first and make sure that I'm seeing that, because without the crank sensor at all, it won't start no matter what you do to everything else.
But it'll run without the cam sensor.
Without a cam sensor if it's not working.
If you're not using sequential fuel and spark, if you run it in DIS waste spark, you can get the thing to start just on the crank and run just on the crank sensor. I tell people the same thing. In fact, my first starts are always done that way. So
before I even do that, I always like to go through and do a sanity check. I go through and look at the IAT sensor. I go through and look at the coolant temp sensor. If it hasn't been started, it should be somewhere near ambient temperature. You know, check your TPS sensor, make sure it moves. Make sure your
whole first check we were talking about, where we plug in sensors one at a time too. You're looking at it to see that the data makes sense.
Of course, I just want to clarify, you know, also make sure your map sensor is right around 100 kPa. You know, just go through and do all that basic stuff, because if those are reading right, sitting normal, more than likely they'll be okay elsewhere.
And know that your map sensor isn't going to read exactly 100 kPa sitting still. It's going to read barometric pressure.
Yep. It might be 98, might be 97.
If it's calibrated right, it should match your barometric pressure at whatever altitude you're at, whatever your barometric pressure is for the day. If it's calibrated right, it should match just sitting there.
Yeah. So sanity check. Now that's I've put that in the webinar as well. Just go through and check all the sensors. Make sure you're getting RPM when you crank it. Make sure you're getting realistic battery voltage. Make sure you're getting realistic coolant and air temp sensors. You know, if it reads 400 degrees on the coolant temp sensor, something's obviously wrong. But get all that stuff working first. I don't know. Then what do you do next?
Make sure you got fuel pressure.
Yeah, make sure you got fuel pressure. Check the fuel system that it's not leaking. Have a second guy on hand.
Matches what you have in the tune.
Right, watching fuel, making sure there's no leaks underneath the car, oil leaks, that kind of shit. When it does start, don't sit there and have so much fun tuning it that you overheat the damn motor and not notice.
If you got a mechanical pump, there's no good way to get pressure at first to be able to set your regulator. Pull the vacuum line off the thing and have the tools ready to real quick turn it to get it to what you're shooting for your low pressure, for your base pressure.
The other thing is, make sure you have fuel pressure while you're cranking. I've had this bite me in the ass once or twice over the years. And you turn the key on, you think you got pressure, and then when you're cranking, you lose everything you got. So it's another real basic thing to check while you're doing all this.
Right. Why won't it let me comment?
If you're using a fuel other than gasoline, keep a little bit of gasoline on hand that you can dump in the thing to get it to light off.
Right. I'm trying to make comments. I'm just going to say, Danielle Hughes, make sure you guys are ready for dinner this weekend. Keep either Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, whenever I do classes at Blake, I like to go out to dinner with those guys because they're just fun to hang out with. And I'm bringing Mary with me this weekend. So, and her and Danny get along real good. So I was like, hey, make sure I can't comment or send you messages for whatever reason. Oh, here we go. Now it lets me comment. Okay. Danny Hughes and Blake. Make sure we can do dinner this weekend. Sorry.
So one of the things I like to do also is with verifying and cranking RPM and all that is to take a timing light, put it on each cylinder.
Yep.
Yeah, see if it follows the right spots.
So this is,
I've seen that.
If you had test modes, you could actually say fire coil 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8 and make sure they're in the right place, because it's real common on the plug and play harnesses to get the coil harnesses flipped fore and aft or side to side. And you get the wrong firing order and the thing kicks back on the starter or pops out the exhaust. But what you can do, what Dominic was talking about, is you can, and I'll do it this way. I'll take a paint pen and I'll write on the balancer every 90 degrees, and I'll just go around and put the firing order 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2, whatever it is, every 90 degrees, and you'll see they fire in pairs. 1 and 6 fire together. 8, 5. You know, well, I mean, it depends on your firing order, but anyway, every 90 degrees they'll fire. You can go around and test them while cranking and with the timing light on it without starting the engine. Make sure your firing order's in the right order.
Whatever your firing order is, the first one and fifth one in that firing order fire together. The second one and the sixth one in the order fire together. The third one and the seventh one will be matched. The fourth one and the eighth one will be matched.
Yeah, I usually mark every customer that I have that I do. I mark every balance, so they're all marked, because one of the things that helps with a lot of my customers are nitrous guys, which we do a lot of leak down tests. So it allows you to real quick, easily do your leak down test by having it marked on there.
I'm waiting for Blake to call in. Blake, call my phone. I want to talk about his intercooler while we're still doing this. So, I mean, we're just being kind of loose tonight about first startup, but these are all tips that you can kind of that you want to look into. Honestly, if you got all this stuff sorted out and the timing is ballpark right, you can be plus or minus 30% on fuel and it'll still start and run. You know what I mean? Expect to have to open the throttle up a little bit, but the first thing I do once the thing lights off is I'm on the fuel table leaning it out until it stalls or stumbles, and then putting a little bit back in. And then Scott McDonald says,
you verify that the timing is correct.
Well, you can with cranking, but you're going to have to go back and verify it once it's running. You got to get it to start and idle.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you don't want to sit there and verify the timing while the thing's running with 40% too much fuel and washing down the, killing the ring seal. So I just say lean it out because you know it was close enough. Lean it out, get it to a nice lean idle, and then make it a fast idle. Don't try and make it idle at 800 RPM right off the bat. Idle at 1300 RPM. Get your timing sorted out. Then start. Then go from there. So okay, Jared Prickett had a question.
Update
go
finished, and everything seems to be working so far.
It did good.
Yep, no problems. Took about 20 minutes to update the ECU from my laptop through USB.
Have you ever done the update from the dash?
So people are aware, take different times depending on the laptop you're using, the USB bus it's using. My own personal laptop on my car, I've got a pretty nice powerhouse personal laptop that I use for all kinds of stuff. And it takes me literally like 4.5 minutes to update an ECU every time I've done it on mine. But I've gone to other people's cars with their laptops and it's taken as much as 30 minutes.
So it's also taking as little as 2 or 3 minutes when you do it from the SD card on the dash.
Sure,
on the handheld?
The CAN bus, yeah, on the handheld. I'm told that can go in like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, when I initially got the ECU, I had issues with updating it through USB. It wouldn't do it at all. I actually got the ECU was stuck in like, I want to call it like a deadpool mode almost.
Right.
And I ended up having to do it through CAN.
And it worked. That's one of the tricks they told me for unbricking if you have to do it.
Yep.
Nice. Cool.
And yeah, the slower the laptop, the slower the update. Because it's basically got to read it, open it, send it, read it, open it, send it, read it, open it, send it, times however many tens of 50s of thousands.
Mine's about to a V4
send,
build 110. My laptop is like 18 minutes, 17 or 18 minutes typically. And I've seen them go a lot slower. Guys have a bunch of porn on their laptops. Car guys. But groovy. But what else, man? Continuing on with that first startup. Once you get things sorted out, get your VE table taken care of.
Got this thing on?
Yeah, it's on.
You told me to call. I'm calling.
Is this Rich?
This is Blake.
Oh, Hughes, what's up, man?
Awesome.
Oh, I was going to have you dial my regular phone number. That's cool. Ooh, okay, we can shift gears. Bewley, why don't you introduce what he was talking about and then let Blake kind of do some talk. You guys talk a little bit about what Blake was showing off on Facebook.
Oh, just put it on me, huh?
No, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up on the screen, actually. Hold on a second here. So
bring the picture up.
Give me 20 seconds. I'm getting better and faster at this, but not exactly awesome. Is it on your page, Bewley, or where should I go find it?
Go get the comparison pic off of Blake's page.
Got it.
That way they got a reference in the frame.
That way they can see the whole family.
Yep.
Hey, you got to be ready for dinner this weekend, right? You're gonna bring Hudson and Danielle out.
That kid's always happy. Always hungry.
I know, right? And that kid's like always
talking about you or
complacent.
Hudson.
Hey.
Well, I'm just asking. It was a genuine question.
Yeah, you guys got to get to know Hudson. He is hilarious. He's a cool kid, man. And that kid is going to be he's going to tune circles around Pops. And I don't know if is he going to be a fabricator? Have we decided yet?
Yeah, I think so.
Right on. Okay, let me get the screen going on here.
I don't know how he couldn't.
No, I don't know, right? But I know the kid will sit there and watch ducks races for like 3 hours straight. as soon as it goes into a commercial or something, he's like, "Hey, shaking the phone. What the hell's going on here?"
Who knows? He might be the world's biggest tech Nazi. Also, as soon as Danny gets to the shop and sets him down, he runs around to every car in the shop and checks the lug nuts on. He'll run up to the car and grab the lug nut, turn it, and go to the next wheel and check that one. Go to the next wheel, and then he runs around to all the cars in the shop and checks them all.
Where are the pictures at? They must not have been on Blake's page. They must have been on 417 Motorsports page. Hold on.
No, it's on his. He put it up on his.
It's on my personal page.
Oh,
yeah.
hold on, man.
You can find it on mine too. I got tagged in it. So
yeah, maybe I'm not friends with Blake. He blocked me off or something. I'm not seeing. I'm just not cool anymore. Hold on.
Broke up.
You might not be going deep enough if he got tagged in a bunch of stuff today.
I did get tagged in that. What am I thinking? Hold on a second here. All right, so Annie Hughes. Anastasia is giving her a hard time. It's coming. My shit's loading slow because I got way too much running on this computer tonight. But there it is. Okay. Boom. It's alive.
Nick, your cam's on the way. Don't give me grief. It's on the way. Promise.
Oh, I got to fix my display. Hang on just a second here. Display capture. Display 2. And all right, we got Blake's picture. It is officially streaming. Okay. What the hell am I looking at there? I'm looking at 3 different. Are these end plates for your intercoolers?
The end cap.
Okay, so there's obviously a big, thicker one. I'm going to let you guys talk for a couple minutes while I step out and check the audio stream, but I'm going to listen on the other side. Go ahead and tell us what the hell everybody's looking at here on this picture. I'll blow it up. Boom.
Okay, so I'm sure everybody's seen the intercoolers that we've been making now for the past, what's it been, John?
God,
6 years?
4 years,
7
4 or 5 years now. We with the billet ones. We had some the current generation of billet design.
Yes, the current design has been probably 4 years now. We started off initially with our harebrained test dummy child that everybody knows is the Krusty Nova, and built the intercooler that fit in the Holley Hi-Ram. And it got brought to my attention through John that there was a big demand for something like this. So we had to come up with some sort of a bolt-in piece because we had way too many hours tied up in that intercooler on the first one. So we made a billet-style intercooler that was I say billet intercooler. It was a bolt-together piece, CNC machine piece that bolted in between the top and the bottom plenum of the Hi-Ram intake manifold. And it was cool. Everything was neat. Used a 2 1/4 inch thick core. Lots of cars went real fast with them. We sold a good quantity of that size to start with. And then the demand started for a little bit bigger intercooler. People wanted to push them a little further, wanted a little more out of it. So we did this 3.5 inch core, thickness core, which is the bigger one that we currently sell.
Which is the middle plate in the picture.
That's the middle plate in the picture, yes. When we released that one, we kind of revised the look of them, gave them a little more of a sex appeal looking. Everybody likes the CNC ball mill finish step over look of a billet piece. The first ones we did were what a machinist appreciates, and that's just a nice, smooth mirror finish, killer cut quality. All that stuff was cool on it, and it looked good. But let's face it, in 5 years, it's going to look like a scratched up piece of aluminum, and you're not going to know what the hell it was. In 5 years with this new style, it still looks like a CNC cool looking piece. So everything else is the same. It was just a cosmetic difference. We went to the bigger style, so we updated the smaller one, which is the smallest one you see in the picture. And so that one's been out now for 3 years, I guess. 4 years.
Yep, 3 years.
Like the bigger style one has. And there again, a lot of people have gone fast in them. We've had numerous cars in the 7s with that intercooler setup. Lots of cars in the 4s with that intercooler setup. And there again, people are pushing them harder. Starting to get some feedback. The guys saying, "Hey, man, this thing's just not quite keeping up." And we've had a bunch of guys that have steered away and gone to the methanol side and stuff like that. Which it's not that this intercooler was never meant to replace a PT 3000 or a PT 2000. Intercooler that goes under the dash or something like that. It was more of a packaging deal, keep everything simple for guys. Instead of a guy going out and dropping $2,000 or $3,000 at the fabrication shop to have intercooler piping run all through his car and take up the back seat and everything else, or under the dash, 3 or 4 feet of tubing under the hood and you're done. And so we stepped back and got our heads together again and said, hey, let's set the bar higher again and let's go bigger again. And with going bigger, everybody's like, oh my God, no hood, no hood, no hood. So that's when we kind of stepped back and did something with an intake manifold to kind of to accommodate it and keep everything packaging a little better. But the new one that we're releasing is a full 6-inch thick core. It's big. It's not for everybody. It's a serious piece. It's going to cool a lot of airflow. It has the water manifolds. I'm probably just giving too much away right now, but there is no separate piece to buy now with a water manifold. They are built onto the end tanks. It uses a large fitting entering the side of it. It's two. It's two. It's got a fitting on the front and a fitting on the back on each side. You can plumb it with a single -20 hose. You can plumb it with an 1 1/4 NPT fitting. You can plumb it with an 1 1/4 barb. We're going to have a handful of different styles of fittings that will screw into this thing. That whenever you place the order, you just tell us what fittings you want with it, and then we'll sell you that intercooler with those fittings. So it leaves the plumbing options open because a lot of guys don't want to spend whatever it costs on a -20 fitting, and other guys do. Other guys want to plumb the thing in 1 1/4 hose, something simple like that. So we're kind of keeping it open for the guy putting everything together. But it's a big piece. It's going to be cool. I'm not sure what else to say about the thing. I don't want to give everything away. I was hoping to have one in my hands on display at the class this weekend. I don't think that's going to happen. I may have a couple pieces to it, but that's it. But I think I'll have a completed unit to post pictures of next week.
Just so long as we can talk about it a little bit, sweet.
Yeah, one of the big Blake, we might as well just talk about all the design aspects of it. I mean, post pictures of it, and, go from there.
Yeah.
But we've gone away from through bolt on the big core. It's going to be blind bolted, both top and bottom.
It'll use a stud on one side and a through bolt on the other.
Yep.
So instead of using the long stud that goes all the way through the entire assembly as one. That's one of the neat things about it. The other cool thing that a lot of people overlook on an air-to-water intercooler. We haven't had this issue yet with ours. We've done enough flow data to know what the water's doing internally in the core and stuff like that. But with this big core, and this goes for anybody with an air-to-water intercooler, I encourage you to go out to your car right now, look and see how this thing's plumbed. You have got to fill the core completely. And a lot of these intercoolers that are mounted in the cars wrong, or a lot of your Chinese air waters and stuff, they don't take that into consideration when they put the bungs on them. And you're probably only filling the core halfway up. So what we did on ours is we offset the inlets and outlets. Ours, the one inlet will be right above the fuel rail on the one side down low, and then the other one is all the way at the top of the core on the opposite side. So you will have the core completely filled. And the other thing on a setup like this is that is probably chances are going to be the highest point on the car too. So it's a chance for, if you didn't have a setup like this, and the pump wasn't flowing enough or something like that, it wouldn't fill the core completely. So even on stuff that's mounted in the car, in a different location, making sure the core fills itself all the way is key.
Sweet.
Trey, cost is probably the main reason why we didn't just say, stack two of the other ones together. Plus, this new core is only 6 inches tall. I think we're a little over 6-inch mounting flange to mounting flange. And if we stack two of the other ones, we would be 7.6 inches tall. Yeah, 7.4 or 7.6 inches tall. So we're a little short. we're a little shorter, using just coming out with a brand new model that's only 6 inches. So, but plus cost. I mean, the 3.5 inch intercooler, the 3.75, that intercooler is $1,800. I mean, 2 of those is going to get fairly expensive, and obviously with a single intercooler, we're going to be well below that.
Right, and then you've also got double the plumbing also.
Yeah,
so we've simplified all the plumbing as well.
Yep. But this should accommodate some of the guys that are looking to be north of 2,000, well north of 2,000 at the crank. So, with we've had 1,600 to 1,700 wheel made with the middle intercooler, the middle sized one, and we expect this new one to be able to handle a little bit more than that. We're going to test it and see what we can get it to make, and how well we can get it to hold temperature down track.
One of the other things, I'm sure the big questions, I'm not looking at the live feed right now to see questions that are coming in, but one of the questions we're going to get asked, I'm sure, is just how tall will the entire package end up being? And I know for a fact that the high ram is 12 inches to the highest point from the front edge of the block on the motor now. And so, yes, with the intercooler in there, it's ridiculously large. Some guys that doesn't matter to, other ones want the lower profile deal. And so you have the option of the lower intake manifold that we do also. And with the lower intake manifold and the intercooler, John, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say this thing comes in just over an inch taller than just a high ram by itself.
I think I did the math on it, and it's 0.6 of an inch total height and that's basing it using both that's basing measurements using a Holley lid for both measurements. So we have the ability, Blake's got the ability to fabricate some custom lids. So I think we can come in with the 6-inch core on the billet lower, the same height as a high ram with the 3.75 cooler. So we'll be pretty. If you got that, we'll be able to match heights, and so if you can package that one, you'll be able to package this one if you need it. Yeah, Ricky, we've done some flow testing on the core. We know what we can get it. What pump will put what water through it, and we've got it. We've got some stuff figured out on it, and we know what pumps are. This thing is really sensitive to pump. The 417 intercoolers, like Blake was saying earlier, they weren't meant and they weren't brought to market to compete with PT 2000s and PT 3000s. It's a different style. We don't have a lot of saturation time in the core itself. So we basically have to achieve our goals on pure water flow. And the Rule series of pumps are just not going to cut it with these intercoolers. And we pretty much require, we tell everybody, we recommend to everybody to use an EMP or EWP 150 Davies Craig pump or the Stewart Warner EMP. Those are really the only 2 pumps we feel are up to the task of doing something like this. I'm actually I've got a guy that's going to be doing with a mechanical water pump, and see if we've got any more gains of being able to, any more gains to be had by getting even more water flow through the core than the Davies Craig pump can achieve for us. Alex, go ahead. Alex, we haven't tested any alternative fluids. We've just been using, just basic ice water, man. I don't know of a lot of people out there doing intercooling with exotic fluids like methanol and things like that. And to me, that's kind of scary. I don't really want to try and do cooling with a fluid that could combust.
Well, and the other thing there is you got to think these guys that are using these things at the racetrack, the other fluids, if you're changing them out, you'd have to have some way of recovering all that fluid, because you're not just going to dump water out, dump it out on the ground like you do the water. To put a different, a fresh fluid in there that was cool or something like that, unless it was a closed system deal, using something else to cool the system, which we've experimented with that as well. We have done a closed system deal. We have used one of the Australian inner chillers. I've got a couple guys that have used those, and they will actually frost the entire intercooler over. The little Viking 58 truck that Travis Ball built, Ball Metal Fab, that has the Duramax behind the cab that's been getting all sorts of publicity, has the 3.8 inch cooler on it, with one of those inner chillers on there, and he said he can cycle that thing, and with it sitting there running, the entire intercooler brick will frost over. So it's kind of cool looking when you see that. So it definitely does something there. That's something that you guys can look into and do some reading up on. They're real popular with the Cadillac CTSV guys. Those guys have been playing with them a bunch. There's some neat stuff there. But to touch back on what John was saying with the water pump stuff, I see a lot of these guys at the racetracks running these rule pumps. And don't get me wrong, guys, those pumps move a lot of water. But we've done a bunch of flow tests on them as well. Those pumps are designed to do exactly what they are, and that's bilge pumps. They're meant to pick water up 3 foot out of the hull of a boat, chuck it back out in the lake or the ocean.
Yeah, they're meant to free flow.
They don't want any head pressure at all. So yeah, when you see them running, it looks like they're flowing a whole bunch of water, or you see them moving stuff. And like I said, it looks like they're flowing a bunch, but the flow rates on these things, by the time you pump one, especially in our case, where you pump it from the back of the car in the trunk all the way to the front of the engine bay, and then back to the trunk through, 1 inch hose or 1.25 inch hose or dash 16 hose, whatever you're running, through the bends and through the curves and through the fittings and all that stuff, the flow rates drop off drastically. So you've got to pay attention to the flow rate of the pump with head pressure, not just a free flow rating like that 3,000 pump is rated at 3,000 gallons an hour, and that's free flow, wide open, nothing hooked to it. And even at that rate, I question the numbers. But flow rates are it's just like a fuel pump or anything else. Head pressure plays key to your end number on what the pump actually moves. We have done the test with the Davies Craig pump, like John was saying. If you guys aren't familiar with those, check them out. It's an Australian company also. Really cool looking little bitty pump. They're easy, compact. It's an externally mounted pump. Small, little, easy fittings. They've got a barb fitting on the outside, and they got is it an NPT or a dash or an O-ring fitting now? Because I know they just switched it.
Well, the problem was they had the thing with the pump right now is they had 2 different places machining housing, and one place was machining NPT and one place was doing orb. So some are actually 1 inch NPT and some are 16 ORB.
I was going to say all the ones I've got are O-ring, but then I just recently heard that some of them were NPT. So
I had 2 go out. I had 2 go out last week. They were NPT.
Yeah. So, but they're a cool little pump, very economical pumps. They're actually cheaper than the Rule 3000, if I remember right. And they move some water.
Yeah, Davies Craig has recently had back the first year they did a price drop on all the pumps, and now the EWP 150 is under $200, and it has a little relay kit, and it's a pulse width modulatable pump. So if you guys have got the Holley set up like the V5 Holley, you can do a table to actually run the intercooler pump, so you can feed the intercooler flow in for street driving. The pump doesn't have to be on 100% all of the time. You can 40-50%. You can pulse width modulate the pump in based on TPS, mat pressure. You can do all kinds of crazy things to build a table to run the flow of the pump and get just as much flow as you need. So without over circulating the water and things like MS3 does it too, Nick. But yeah, it's a great little pump. It does. It's like Blake was saying, it's compact. It weighs less than 2 pounds, and it will just move all kinds of water.
And they are, I get asked this question often too. They are a constant duty pump. They're actually an engine coolant pump. They're not just some harebrained idea that we got and said, hey, this looks like it'll work well. This is actually an engine coolant pump, very similar to an OEM BMW pump. So it's not there again. It's not like a build pump that's only meant to run for, a short period of time, which I know before it gets brought up, I know we're drag racing here. It's only certain times, but it's longevity and reliability in my book. So it's like I said, it is a constant duty deal. So if you do want one for the intercooler, you can run the same thing on the motor. That's our personal little shop truck, the Soma. It's got one on the intercooler, one on the motor, both doing the rear mount radiator deal. That's the only pumps that are on the truck. So they work on both of them.
Yes, Michael Matajasic, this is the pump that we talked about on the phone for the land speed car or the standing mile car.
Which would be a huge help because we're getting some pretty hot IATs at the end.
Get on your car.
Yeah. Very good.
I was just talking to Danielle last night about the standing mile stuff, and she says that has absolutely no interest to me at all. And I said, it really doesn't when you're watching them, but God, I can't imagine the rush inside the car, let alone.
Oh, it's fun, man. It's throttle out especially fun with the Matajasic brothers.
Oh, it'd be great, right?
Yeah. No, it was a good time. I like the standing mile.
All it is a mile-long drag race against yourself.
Yep. It was a good time.
Yes, Mike, 170 degrees for the loss. I agree with that 110%.
I went to the Wilmington Mile once, and it was god-awfully boring.
It's kind of
the spectator side. Yeah, spectator side of it's got to be just, geez, I fall asleep.
It's not that
It's kind of like baseball and golf. It's one of those things that suck to watch, but great to participate in.
Oh, lame. Both of those are lame. No, so I did the standing mile stuff with Matajasic. It's actually pretty cool. If you go to Bonneville,
we're going to get you in a car or a truck doing something, Danny, whether it be 660 foot or 1,320 or 5,280. We'll find something you want to do.
We've got a ride along night down here at our track, like once every month or something like that, where they'll actually let you strap somebody in the passenger seat as long as they've got all the same safety gear as you do.
Is there a time limit?
Can we do that in the S10 and with a GoPro?
I was going to say, I'll put a GoPro on the dash and we'll put her in the passenger seat. And if I don't have two black eyes through the helmet by the time I cross the 660, I'll be doing something pretty good.
Do we need to stretch a net up in the middle of the truck? That way she can't get to you?
Yeah. Just like the land speed cars, put a window net between the two of us.
Oh God!
Is there an ET limit or something like that on that you can't run a certain max ET?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how much you guys follow the no prep stuff, but the local car to us, Jamin Hogg's car, the Good Far, that 63 Impala with the blown Hemi in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did someone take a ride in that?
They told him that he could let people. They let him do 60-foot hits with people in the car.
Oh my God, Jamin, I got to get a ride in that thing. That thing is so badass. I know them too. That's yeah.
So a 1.0 60-foot or a 0.9 60-foot would be. I'm down. I'm not a good passenger, but I'm in.
Sign me up. I'll put on all my racing gear. I'm ready to go.
Stephen Laughlin says there's supposed to be a 6-second 8th ET limit for doing that, but that's why 60-foot hits in the Good Far.
I'm just when the green light comes on, I'm just gonna bump one more time and trip the beams, and then I'm running it out the back.
Right.
Bump one more and just sit there for a second, and so it'll only show 6 seconds that way.
Well, we got a couple of cool cars for the class this weekend, so should be a good time.
My streak keeping up.
What's that?
Unfortunately, I heard we had one that is not going to make it. I was really excited to see that.
Evan Ellenwood's car isn't quite going to make it. Brad Nagel's out there wiring that thing right now, and he called me today. He's like, dude, I don't think we're going to make it. But Evan's still going to show.
I can overnight them some more wire nuts if they need them.
I mean, I told him, well, Brad said the problem was they hadn't tested the fuel system. They literally hadn't fired it up or done nothing. And so we might, he's worried about us ending up working on a bunch of other non-relevant stuff, which I don't mind. Dude, Evan, load that thing up on a trailer and bring it anyway. We'll see if we can bring it to life.
That's what I said.
All right, I'll tell him to bring it.
I texted him earlier this week, and he's like, I said, dude, I said, if you're cutting it close and there's anything we can do once you get here to help you, bring it. And he was down to talking like, hey, can we do intercooler piping Friday night? I said, I don't care. That's fine. Bring it. Load it up. I said, have you got all the materials? He said, yeah, I need one more bin, and I'll order it from Doug tomorrow. So I said, bring it on down. I said, we'll button up the loose ends.
Tyler's car is on Holley, isn't it?
Yep.
Steal Tyler's car.
I got Chris Pilato coming. He's got a car ready to go. But
Tyler's car's ready to go too. It's together and running. And
Tyler's got a real good grasp on the Holley stuff. I'm really proud of him. He does his reading and does his research, and he's actually when the local guys can't get a hold of me within the first phone call, he's the next call they make. And man, 9 times out of 10, he's got that thing really happy really quick, and he's trying to learn me on the VE stuff, which I still struggle with. I'm still stuck in the pounds per hour side. I'm hoping tomorrow.
You got to do the VE tuning. No, it's all right. It's all right. We'll get there. You're gonna have plenty of classes to. So we're gonna have like at least one more after this one. So we got to set up as a fall date.
I stepped out of the class last time because we were actually we were in a race down here at our local track, and so I stepped out of the class last time right whenever Scott started to touch on the VE stuff, so I missed that point of it.
No, he was like, I'm out. I heard him. I heard what you were saying. You're like, I'm out of here. Don't fuck around. I'm going to go eat some of this leftover lunch. But no, Anastasia. Hey, dude, Anastasia sent me a message the other day. They got Chris Grafton's car fired up just based on what she attended the class the last time. She's on methanol, and they got it fired up and running. She's like, all right, I think I got this Holley stuff. I think I got it figured out. And I'm like, yeah, good job, kid. She's doing good.
If she can figure out that science project, there ain't no reason she can't do the Holley stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, she's the real deal too. They do it she does it herself. It's not like people are like, oh, Scott, you tune that, and then she acts like she tunes it. Bullshit. Dude, that girl will call me up and have a question like, all right, dome pressure sensor, explain to me the wiring on the pressure sensor and then the fill and the empty. How do I test it? Those are the kind of questions I get from her. So that's legit. But it's
I love working with her. She's my girl.
They're a good time.
She's my girl now. That did you see the picture she sent me and told me to make a post the other night?
Yeah, the one with her flexing in front of their car on the chassis table.
That was hilarious. I laughed for 30 minutes about that.
Yeah. No, girl can tune, man, and that's pretty cool. That goes to show you that I tell people like your kids can figure this stuff out quick too. There's Brian Rock from Drag Week, man, his kids totally figured out the VE tuning when he converted his car over. He had run a standalone ECU just to run nitrous and timing for like 10 years. And finally last year, 2 years ago, put it over on a high pressure fuel system in the injectors. Dude, his like 8 and 11-year-old kids took over the VE tuning when they went on drag weekend. I thought it was pretty badass. He's like, they seem to have it figured out. I just watched the O2s, but.
Yeah, that was the story you told when we had the class last time.
Yeah,
you said that they got into
barometric tuning. Yeah, so these kids are like
they couldn't figure it out. The car wouldn't run.
Yeah,
you told the 8-year-old or something like that, go into O'Reilly's and get a fuel tank pressure sensor or something.
No, it was a barometric pressure. Get a 1-bar map sensor and wire it into the car. And they called me back 3 hours later. All right, we got it. Dad pulled over. He's like, and then on the way home, they're like, check it out. We didn't have to adjust the VE table going through the mountains anymore, and kids, he's like 9 years old at the time, but oh God, it was cool to see the little ones. That's why I'm excited to do these in a couple years when Hudson's a little bit older, and see if that, I mean, he's got an attention span too.
Screwed.
Yeah, we are screwed. But I mean, that kid, dude, the kid's got an attention span. We sat there at dinner and the kid's like, hey, fire up, and he's not even talking, but he's basically telling Dad, hey, fire up the Radio versus the World races on YouTube, and then he's sitting there watching a playlist.
He sat there and watched Dutch,
for like 2 hours.
Dutch race all the way to dinner. Didn't make a peep.
No, kid's got a great attention span for his age. I mean, he's got the potential. So,
and mind you, for people that don't know, he'll be 2 next month.
God.
I can't believe he's 2 already.
I know, it makes you feel old.
Dude, everything makes me feel old anymore. I'm headed for 40.
Oh, shut up. Jesus. I'm headed for 46. Oh, God.
Hey,
Shit's
John,
starting to
those,
fall off.
those telomeres keep you young, don't they?
Do what?
Those telomeres being out keep you young.
Hey, don't make fun of my telomeres being out.
But they're
I
great.
gotta get a
visibility.
telomere joking. I gotta get a telomere joke in every podcast.
Okay. They're in now just to suit you, just so you know.
He's all happy though.
I've got
Brian's
that
going to let him borrow that big
Phantom
gooseneck trailer for the trip out here this next week. He's going to be running tow mirrors across the whole country with a legit
Hell
reason.
yeah, all with the right reason to have them out too.
Oh,
we're gonna have the party trailer in Kansas. We got air conditioning, a powered awning. We got that thing's got a stereo system in it with 2 subs and the whole 9 yards.
What's going on in Kansas on this?
That LSX versus the world race.
Danny Davis's race is going to be badass.
Have the shop closed up and ready to go about noon on Thursday on the 21st, and we'll caravan out to Wichita.
21st of
this month in
3 weeks out, 2.5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, have the shop closed up, ready to go. We'll be in Springfield about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday coming through.
All right, Cody, if you're listening.
Cody,
it's you.
Yep, have the truck ready to go.
Which Cody?
That means our enclosed has got to be done, and the truck's got to be on kill.
Oh, Cody Teague, you got to work double time, brother.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Hey, I need to do something special for the guys cleaning up the shop on Friday too, Blake. I felt bad last time, so think of something. Bring in some lunch or something for them, whatever.
Well, one of them is getting off easy because he just had his baby yesterday morning, so he's out the rest of this week. So he doesn't have to clean nothing up. So he got off easy.
Yeah, congrats to Michael on that.
Good job,
the
Michael.
new addition to the family.
Yeah. No, I feel bad.
Michael's the man behind the TIG torch on most of our stuff.
Nice.
He does a lot of all of our bench welding stuff. So
so all the shit you get to take credit for on Facebook is actually Michael. Right. Chris Stewart's coming up this week.
Shit where it's due.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. But Chris Stewart's coming up this week. A couple of good fabricators are going to show up to class, so that's that should be a good time. But no,
what in the world's he coming up for? Isn't he a mod motor guy?
Stewie's a whatever it is guy. He's good dude.
He's like me. He don't really give a shit what it is.
No,
if he knows what it's intended to do. He likes it.
Listen, Stewie, if you're listening, I will disown you if you don't get like a 5-foot long bag of garbage bags full of peanuts and dump them on Blake's head in the middle of the shop during the middle of the class. You will be disowned if you do not do that.
He knows better than to fuck with me on peanuts. For those that are wondering what the hell we're talking about, I've got a huge pet peeve of people that send us parts to work on, like intake manifolds, for example, that are getting injector conversions that ship them to us in packing peanuts. Well, he knew this, and he purposely sent us an intake manifold in packing peanuts.
Without the intake manifold being in a bag, so the packing peanuts got everywhere inside.
Oh, that sucks! I hate you. I hate you.
So I told him, and he knew this. I said, it's fair game from now on. You're getting it back. So when I sent it back to him, it was a box inside of a box, welded in a steel box, stuck inside of another box, packed in peanuts on every one of them. He gets it back. And then he's like, hey, man, what about those little spacers for the injectors? I was like, dude, I forgot to slip them in that box. I'll send them to you next.
Oh, no. So you look through all the goddamn peanuts. Look,
these little spacers are like a 1/2-inch OD, 7/16 ID, like 100,000 tall aluminum shim. So Michael has this bright idea to run upstairs, grab a like 24-inch long, 12-inch by 12-inch. It might even be a bit bigger than that, like a 16 by 16 by 24-inch box, pack it full of peanuts. And as he's putting these things, I was like, just zip tie all those things together and throw them in the box. And so Michael's like, no, I got a better idea. So he grabbed a peanut and zip tied one of those spacers to a peanut and threw it in the box. And then he's like, well, really to fuck with him, I'll just put some zip ties on random peanuts also. And so 16 of these little bitty spacers in this whole big box full of peanuts, zip tied to random peanuts everywhere. Stewie opens it up and sees this, and he sees the one that's got a zip tie on it. Well, he doesn't think anything about it. So he just dumps the peanuts out into the trash can that he had just changed his kids' diapers in. And he had to go digging through this whole trash can to find these little aluminum shims. He's like, I will never send you anything ever again in peanuts. I am so sorry. Oh my God, you win. So yeah, heads up to anybody that sends us anything in peanuts. You're starting a battle, and I will win.
Oh, that is so funny. I'm crying.
Yeah, and I was just complaining about peanuts the other day too. Same kind of problem. Somebody sent me something in peanuts.
Oh, I'm crying.
There's a special place in hell for people like that.
Oh, I just got a big box today that had a bunch of peanuts, and it wasn't wrapped. The product it was literally just tossed in the box. It pissed me off.
Yeah, you can send peanuts, but wrap the product or bag all the peanuts.
Yeah, no, it didn't have that. So we made peanut mess all over my floor in the office. That's always fun. All this static shit.
It's much preferred to bag the peanuts because then they don't break apart and you don't have little tiny bits everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a bunch of boxes this week at the shop with no return address and a bunch of fucking peanuts in them.
And I'll probably get a picture with a damn you caption for everyone that shows up.
My delivery today, this is funny, totally off topic, but my UPS guy, he's pretty convinced I'm growing weed. I got this light fixture. No, this is hilarious. And the guy at Home Depot is sure that I'm growing weed. He basically told me this. So I live on an acreage and we grow a garden every year. And I got a full-on drip system. No, just listen. And outside, out in the yard garden or whatever, quarter acre, it's a pain in the ass. Half of what we grow gets eaten by goddamn deer and rabbits. And I always got this, you should see this contraption, this bullshit that I set up every year. It's like a 10-foot tall fence, solar electric fence. God knows how much money I've blown on this shit over the years. I trenched water out to the garden. I got the little shed out there. And I'm like, I got so pissed off. And Mary's like, well, we're doing a garden this year. And I'm like, let's do, Eric Brooks, the HP tuner guy, him and his wife posted a picture of this little arrow garden thing that they got. And it's like, I don't know, 2 feet wide by 1 feet deep by like 10 inches tall. And it's got a light in it. And it's hydroponic growing, not weed, but they grow, what is it? The basil. Basement. No, it's basil, thyme, just herbs, right? And they're like, oh my God, this little thing feeds a family of 4, with all the herbs you want, what? And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. So I get on all these DIY pages and it's all for guys growing weed, right? But I built my own little PVC 4-inch tube that's 48 inches, and I got 2 of these in a row. And I made a little aquarium water pump deal, and it's got a 10-gallon reservoir, and it pumps water up to these things every couple of hours, and the plants just their roots just hang down in the water. Dude, you can grow like 2 of these tubes, 4 feet long. You can grow 1 row lettuce, 1 row. I've got tomatoes and strawberries going. I don't know how big they're going to get if they're still growing. But anyway, so I got this set up. I got grow lights. I got hydroponic solution. I got nutrient stuff. The UPS guy's been delivering this stuff all for the last couple of months. And I mean, that guy, he just looks at me like today, and I had this grow light comes in, right? And it says grow light right on the box. And the guy is looking at me like, I know you're growing weed. I'm like, no, I swear to God, dude, I'm not growing weed. The guy at Home Depot, because I went and got all the PVC pipe and all the fixtures and bullshit, I mean, he just basically outright told me, he's like, are you growing weed? I'm like, no, I'm growing lettuce and tomatoes and strawberries. And it was just hilarious. But that guy, they shipped that stupid light fixture in peanuts. Yeah, I know, right? Everyone's like, sure you are.
I got a buddy who does that same thing, and he grows a bunch of fruits and veggies in his basement, no problem, no big deal.
Dude, if
all
you're
his
a tuner,
neighbors think he's growing weed because he's got all that crap.
I know, right? But if you're a tuner, dude, it is way fun. I mean, it's super cheap. The tools to sit there and measure the electrical conductivity of the water, the parts per million, the total dissolved solids, nitrates and the phosphates, and the pH. It's tuning, man. It's absolutely. I'm having way more fun, and you can basically take up 4 by 8 feet of space and grow way more than I could grow in a fucking quarter acre garden. You know what I mean?
Grow them in 5-gallon buckets and you can hang them and they don't take up your floor space.
Yeah, no, and I'm kind of going vertical with some of that stuff. Now I know the tomatoes are going to get bigger and I'm going to have to put them in, but right now they're just, the tomato plants are still growing and the strawberries take a while.
Tomato plants will grow off of whatever you hang them from. They don't have to be in the ground. They can be upside down. They don't care. They just grow.
Yeah, yeah. But I was just experimenting with the electric pumps and the hydroponic stuff was pretty badass. I can see why the weed growers do it the way they do because the shit you get the mixture right, the stuff takes off. I mean, a plant will grow 4 inches in 24 hours, So anyway, the lettuce is kick ass, tastes really good. Tastes way better than the stuff you get at the store. We got basil, thyme, parsley. I got all that stuff going in the little arrow garden, and that's been feeding us. In fact, I had pizza for dinner tonight that we made homemade with basil on it that we grew ourselves. And it's fucking awesome. But anyway, tuner stuff. It was kind of it's a little hobby I'm trying because I'm finally kind of getting tired of goddamn rototiller and then fighting weeds and going outside and there's deer jumping your 6-foot fence and bullshit. I mean, where I live, the wildlife is nuts. But yeah, so anyway, I hate peanuts because they shipped the light fixture, like the fixture in a big ass box with just peanuts all over. And as soon as I opened it up, it was like, woof.
Could always do an automated turret with paintballs.
Right. Right. So
get water-based paintballs that are, all good for the environment still and let it go to town and whatever comes through. I promise they'll run.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's about it there. So anyway, I just was telling my story, my latest hobby, which I am very much enjoying, and also saving a shitload of time out there, not having to battle weeds and bullshit in the garden. The garden's just growing over ugly, but we're eating lettuce. It's good. Oh shit. So what else we got going on? Class this weekend, Blake. I'm gonna be down there Friday after lunchtime. All the rentals, chairs and table stuff will show up sometime Friday as usual, but looking forward to it, man. Your classes are good.
Cool.
Dude, the classes go really well. They're really in demand. So I very much appreciate that. Plus highly specific.
Is this one of the big?
Yeah.
Is this one of the bigger ones you've had?
I sign more people up, but as we learned as we do bigger classes, I shoot for no more than 24 people because that's like the national average. They say you can't teach a class bigger than that. But if you sign up 24 people, then you get like 16 because there's always a bunch of no-shows or people that forgot or whatever. So generally, I mean, I'm hoping for about 25 this time would be nice. We'll see what happens.
Okay. I think that's about what we had last.
It is.
We had 25 or 26 last time.
It is.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt, but Ricky Best, you have to come on the podcast next week because I have to hear the story about the guy running a greenhouse with a Dominator box.
I know he's got a Dominator ECU.
Okay,
guys running a greenhouse.
Ricky Best just put a comment up on Facebook. It says he's got a guy running a greenhouse with a Dominator box. I have to hear that story.
No, they talk about it in their classes.
The training classes.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a PLC, man. That's a logic controller. You should be able to do all kinds of cool shit like that with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to hear that story.
Now, the Megasquirt crowd, they have a whole bunch of science fair projects that aren't even engines that guys run with those. They'll take an old turbocharger, turn it into a gas turbine engine, and run it with a standalone ECU. Cool shit you can do with these things. But inputs and outputs.
We need to do that with an old TV-81.
Yeah, right. Oh, I know, right. Blake hates the science fair projects. But anyway, so all right, cool. Well, what else, guys? We're about out of time.
So we're still trying to find a place to do a class here in Vegas.
If you know anybody.
If you have some connections and you want to help get me in touch with the right people that we can try to make something happen.
Need a dyno shop.
Please get in touch with me.
And we'll do it at an appropriate time. And the wives can come out too and hang out and do cool stuff while we have class.
Thinking towards October where it's not like blazing hot because it's, it's 105, 109 degrees here today.
And we're getting to the point where I'm going to set up my fourth quarter classes here in the next 2 weeks. So, yes.
I completely dropped the ball on that. I've got the shop. I just got to, here, send in a message now.
There we go.
Give me 5 minutes.
Bewley will make it happen. The classes are good, man. So far, the feedback is good. People leave and they're, we add you to this Facebook group and everybody posts all, hey, I got my shit running by myself. I'm making passes. That's nice. We like seeing that.
I get the question all the time is, will this class benefit me? And, I tell them it's for guys that have never even touched anything EFI, all the way to the guy that's got a pretty good grasp on it or even thinks he knows what's going on. You're going to learn something. You're not going to walk away from it going, man, that was a waste.
Yeah. Now, the first 4 hours is to get the noobs up to speed. Then by lunchtime the first day, after that, then we're all on the same page. And then, and it's neat because there's always guys in the class who are badass at something. You always got good fabricators, or you got, you know, somebody like Tom Vigu shows up that can talk valve train. He showed up at one of my Street Outlaws classes down in Mississippi and New Orleans area there. And it's just awesome. So you learn from all these people around you. You come to Blake's shop, check out the kick-ass chassis work and fab work these guys are doing. And so, I mean, yeah, you learn a lot more than just the stuff from the class. But I mean, to me, and I also tell people, you know, I give you a free support afterwards. If you spent the money at the class and you need help with the remote, no problem. Get on and get you up and running. Because the whole idea is to get you going and be able to get your shit running yourself, not be locked into a tuner. So that's what we try to do anyway.
Well, I mean, let's face it. That's really the whole reason of owning one of these systems,
right? Whether
it be Holley, whether it be Fuel Tech, whether it be XFI, or
yeah.
And the things that get covered in the class span a wide variety of systems. It's not specific to one thing.
So
everything
the Holley
that you
class,
get taught is applicable to everything.
Tom Kaiser's class at Holley is awesome about how this tool works. What do all these functions do? Those guys that have gone to that class really know their shit. My class is, what does your engine want? I don't really care what tool you're using. Now at Blake's, we're going to use Holley only, so it's kind of a little of both. But you know, generally, my class is more about, hey, dude, this is how you get your car started running and then making hits going A to B. What you look at in the data log, what you look at when you're tuning it on the dyno, careful stuff to be careful with, and then you know, it's more of a what the vehicle wants, you know, not how to use the tool. So we try,
right. Well, and it's not just like, you know, I think even at that class that we had last time, it was a Holley specific class, but there was 2 or 3 guys that were AEM. There was an AEM guy and a Haltech guy there as well.
Yep. And they enjoyed it.
They would say,
the functions are still the same.
Hey,
yeah,
exactly.
They all do the same thing.
It might be worded different. It might be laid out different, but it's all the same thing. There's not some magic ECU that you're going to go buy whatever flavor Kool-Aid everybody's selling this week. It's going to automatically bolt on your car and make the thing run better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and the class covers everything from how to get it going to, hey, this is heavy details that you might not ever get into, but we're going to show it to you so you have an understanding of what's going on.
All of day 2 is tuning and ask whatever questions you want, and if I can't find the answer, then we go try to find the answer. But generally, I'll take any tech questions we can. So
yeah,
that's what we try to do.
I mean, like Scott said, it's all about you learning how to use the software so that you don't have to rely on somebody else to tune your vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, or learning where to go answer your questions. You're going to leave. There's going to be some questions, but I try to make sure people are like, all right, hey, dude, if you got this question, then you go here. You know, that kind of stuff. So
if you come to the class, you get a little bit of extra help from us once in a while, too.
When it's done. Yep. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll see you guys in a few days, Blake. Everybody else, take care. And
sounds good.
Yep. All right, dudes. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Check out RealTuners.com. We got some classes with some open seats for my 3rd quarter of the calendar year. We're working on our 4th quarter dates. We're looking at something up in the Northeast, something out in Vegas, and something in Chicago. Those are probably the 3 classes we're going to focus on. So we're trying to make it so it's easy and cheap to travel to any one of those. But, all right, so that's all we got for the night. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks to the Holley guys. Thanks, Ricky Best and Ryan Whitty, for getting on the chat and answering some of our questions. Thank you, Scott Evans, for doing a kick-ass job helping us kind of get through this. Dominic, John, everybody else that was on tonight, appreciate it. And we will see you guys. Pretty sure we're going to do a show this coming Wednesday, but if not, we're going to be online Friday night, 2 weeks from Friday, getting the LSX versus the World race up online and broadcast. So Danny Davis's race at Kansas International Drag Week in 2.5 weeks. That's it. Everybody, peace out. Have a good night. Take care.